Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Sharratt. I am the CEO of Teropta Limited. We have been existing about 3.5 years, and we are a communications and control and lightings company. What is the problem? Most of the time we spend actually at work, not at home. And so most of the problem is actually within the buildings that we tend to live and work in. Now, the building owners have these buildings working for them. They have a problem of their energy payments that they need to make. They also have a problem of making the buildings green, in inverted commas. And so they have to do something about it. If we look at the buildings, what we find is that actually most buildings are not used anymore as an industrial building. They're a domestic type building where people live and work. Most of the energy is actually consumed within the lighting phase. And most of that energy consumed is not actually in your computers and so on, it's mostly in the lighting. The eco-energy systems that are around, typically you will find that people will expect to save about 20 to 40% if you try and control how you use that energy. So unlike other people have been talking about where we're saving energy up to use later, we're actually trying to stop using so much of it in the first place, and so that's where we come in. Now, it's been around for a while, and typically you use a building management or a lighting control system, but there are problems with these systems because they're difficult to install. Difficulty tends to be in the fact that you have to dig holes in the walls, you have to put in unfamiliar cabling and unfamiliar wiring, or you could use radio, which is inherently insecure and can be somewhat flaky in terms of a communication system in a metal-clad building, for example. Is this a big market? Well, actually, about 90% of all the buildings that we've got in this country are greater than 20 years old, and none of them have got any form of sophistication in them. About 95% of them have got no forms of control at all, so we're sitting there with a bare, empty market. Are there many? About 1.5 million, 1.7 million, something like that. So there's a large market space. Now, we are obviously not going to go out and capture the entire market space, so we've been focusing on what we might call the easy hits, and those easy hits are the 1,000 square metre type buildings that most of us work in every day. Now, if we could overcome these issues, what you would do is you would have the current buildings, but you'd be taking yesterday's buildings into the future. How do we do it? It's dead easy. The picture says so up there on the screen. We use the power lines which already exist as the communications channel. The power line is copper, people are familiar with it, they're happy with it, and electricians can wire it. So it's dead easy to install. The systems that we bring on top of that, though, are systems from our control and communications expertise, which is in graphical user interfaces and controlling complex systems. What we do is we put on that a distributed processing network, so a distributed computing system goes in there, and we have got it down to the fact that if you can use a smartphone, then you can control your energy management and your systems. Not only to control them, but you can also use the same system to set them up and modify and manage. Our system then forms into some of the categories of most other people's systems in the fact that here we have sensors, we have various other things that you can use to be able to help you manage and monitor that building. So if you just look at the actual product itself, what's the issues that most people have? Cost to install and control cables. Cables are already there because they're wired up to the lights. Building fabric disruption, again, all your control is already there, so there is no building fabric disruption. We are expensive to run, we use efficient designs. Inflexible, yeah, that's possible, but we put software and control in there to make it easy to modify. Who are we? As you can see, unlike the previous slide, we're actually all engineers. We are scientists and engineers. And we have developed the product up to a prototype status. Do we have anybody that's interested in it? The names on the right-hand side of the slide will show you. Goodman, Costain, Kia, quite big names, they're all interested in this. What have we done today? We've been using our consultancy to be able to fund this. We've spent about 250, 300K approximately, mostly in grants and sweat. The opportunity is immense. We're going for about 700,000 buildings. If we were only to take 0.1% share of those 700,000 buildings, we'd be generating £1 million. We want to be a little bit more ambitious than that. 0.5% we could do would be 14 million. What do we want? We would like some assistance in terms of cash, as we can show you there, and I'd love to talk to you afterwards. And we would also like some assistance in order to move it forwards. Thank you very much.